Today I'm going to give you a tip about how to be better at arguing, and in the end, you might just be a better person for it. Welcome to Ever Receding Answers. Just let me say up front, if you guys like the content, don't forget to drop a like or subscribe, or better yet, join the conversation in the comments below. Now you're going to have to bear with me here, but in order to win an argument, first you have to try and lose the argument. And I'm not talking about during the argument, I'm talking about before a word has been said, before a key has been typed. Now most of you have probably heard the term straw manning. For those of you who haven't, it's when you misrepresent somebody's ideas to make them easier to knock down. But you're not actually arguing with their ideas, you're arguing with this straw man that you created. The opposite of that is called steel manning. That's when you represent somebody's ideas so well that even they have to say, yes, that is a fully accurate representation of what I'm trying to say. In fact, you said it better than I could have. Because then what you're doing is you're arguing with their ideas instead of with their character or with some silly representation of their ideas. And what that's also going to do is help you make sure that you actually understand what you're arguing against. So let's just run through an example here. A while back there was a controversy because someone had ran on stage and punched Richard Spencer, a very pronounced white nationalist. Now, there was a debate on whether or not it was okay to punch someone if they were a Nazi. Now, I am very strongly against this position, but let's try and break this down and see if we can pick any holes in the argument. Now, what is the base of this argument? What is the absolute core that it is constructed from? And as is the case with most moral arguments, the base of this argument for me is that we should try and reduce as much harm in society and increase as much well-being. This is a very consequentialist view that happens to be the moral framework that I'm working with. And so that's what I'm going to base my moral argument from. So from there, I can say that words, no matter how sinister, are never going to equal the same amount of harm as violence. I could just leave it at that, and I could say that anybody advocating for punching Nazis just wants to use violence to push forward their side. But let's try and actually understand the opposing viewpoint. Now let's break it down. So my argument that words, no matter how sinister, are never going to cause as much harm as violence. There are many people who feel that words can cause actual harm to people, right? And this is through inciting violence, even if it's not direct enough to be a legal violation. This can be through dehumanizing people, especially children who are going to grow up thinking that they're worth less than somebody because of the color of their skin. And that is a genuine harm that causes that person. They grow up and they don't have the same confidence as everybody else. They don't have the same advantages of feeling like they deserve a spot in society. And that does affect their life, and it affects the lives of people around them. And that's caused by speech, and that's harm. Just because it's in your head doesn't mean that that's not a harm that's being caused to you. People feel that words have been used. I can understand the feeling that words are not doing the trick, right? I mean, there are certain problems that words just can't seem to solve. I mean, we would have never stopped Nazi Germany with a well-reasoned argument. Now, taking a look at these criticisms, I still feel like I'm in the right position, but I'm able to understand people better. So instead of saying that people are trying to use violence to advocate for their side, I would say that people are scared of the harm that these people are doing to them, and they are sick and fed up of trying to use peaceful channels, and it's not working for them, and all that anger and frustration that causes is very understandable why someone would want to just go up on stage and punch a very public white nationalist and send that message that this is not okay, we don't accept that. I still feel like as much harm as it's causing, you're not going to take away that harm by using violence. It's just going to cause more harm because of the victim narrative that gives them. But you can see how looking at other people's arguments and genuinely trying to understand them gives me a better position to argue from. So it gives me the ability to tell people, listen, I understand why you feel the way that you feel, and this is why I think that it's flawed thinking. Or if I was wrong, better yet, I could change my opinion because I now understand and realize that I was wrong. And this is a great lesson to take with you just anywhere in life. There are people who go through life and they look at everyone else as an object for them to interact with. Like Immanuel Kant said, use people as an end in themselves and not just a means to an end. There are many people who use other people as a means to an end and not in an end themselves. And that's something that I think can be fixed. I think that people can change their ways on that. And I think that we need to encourage a society that openly looks at all viewpoints before denying them. Before I leave you guys, I just want to drop a quote. This is something that I actually genuinely just read the other day, and I thought that it fit just so perfectly. So this is from the physicist Sean Carroll. If you don't know him, he's excellent. But he said that empathy is the hidden dimension of rationality. Without it, it's too easy to convince ourselves that our personal perspectives and biases reflect the universal laws of nature. And with that, I'm going to leave. Don't forget to drop a like, subscribe, or most importantly, join the conversation in the comments below. Thank you, as always. This was Ever Receding Answers. Have a good one.